Hi everyone, I am Chef Manuel Bouillet and I am Chef Alexis Bouillet, and today we're gonna do together the mandarin and cointreau soufflé. If you're ready, let's get started. So for the first recipe for the soufflé, we are gonna do the mandarin jelly. That will be the base for our side dish for the soufflé, which is mandarin jelly and also the sorbet and some supreme mandarin. So I will place first part of my mandarin juice or mandarin puree into my saucepan. I just pour around 1/3 or 1/4 of it. And also with mandarin zest, and also the sugar to dissolve it, and just I keep on the side my gelatin mass. So then the idea is just to reheat it to dissolve the sugar. So we don't need to boil it, and it's not recommended to boil it, just to dissolve nicely the sugar, so which is most of the time around 60 degrees, and then I will stop adding my gelatin and pour the remaining of cold puree. The fact that we are separating over here the hot and then the cold, that's going to now allow your jelly to chill faster. So over here, this mass over here, which is already cold, then really help to chill it. Then we'll be able to use it. Today we're gonna use those beautiful plates over here, and we'll put like a thin layer of jelly at the bottom. Okay, so then now we are at 60 degrees. We just add the gelatin and we dissolve it just for a few seconds. Okay, so now I can see everything is well dissolved correctly. We just add now the rest of the puree. And also the fact that we don't reheat much, I will keep nicely the color. Just use the whisk at the end and to make sure that everything is well combining together. And then I will pour delicately the jelly over the plate. Just a thin layer. And we lay it set like this into the fridge, just for 1 or 2 hours, ready for the service. So the idea for the service is that you can do that step every morning. All right. So this part of the plated dessert will be really refreshing on the side of our soufflé. So then we're gonna go for step number 2 for the soufflé, which is the pastry cream base. Originally, in most of the restaurants, when we used to do the soufflé for the organization, we used to make a pastry cream base, and then after we're gonna complete this base by adding the second recipe, which is with cointreau, some egg white, and then we'll make the final soufflé. But originally, making the pastry cream base really helps for the service and make the process faster for the daily operation. So first of all, I'm gonna place here milk and cream, and on the side, Manuel will just mix first yolks and sugar, and after the cornstarch. Okay, so this step is really crucial. When you combine yolks and sugar together, you really want to whip them slightly together in order to incorporate a little bit of air inside. Why? Because if you just leave it like this without mixing it, then the sugar will actually burn. We call it will burn the yolks, and it will create like a lot of like lumps everywhere, and you won't be able to remove them. So then on the side we just bring to boil our milk and cream, and then we'll be able to pour part of it to dissolve the base from Manuel. So now with the cornstarch, we combine well together, and then we'll take care of dissolving this thick mixture with the hot milk. Okay, so then it's boiling again. I pour everything together. And keep cooking as a regular pastry cream. So we're gonna keep boiling until the pastry cream, first of all, become thick. But then in the beginning of the process, the pastry cream is pretty thick. So by keeping boiling it for several seconds, you will see that it will become slightly softer again, which is the sign that the pastry cream is correctly cooked and the cornstarch is correctly activated. Okay, so now the pastry cream is nice and smooth, slightly softer after the process is finished. And then Manuel will just add me a tiny bit of butter to add some extra creaminess and of course some taste. So after when this step is finished, we just cool it down quickly into the blast freezer, and then after we keep it for maximum 3 days into the refrigerator. So this base will be perfect to start our next step, which is the souffle, final step. So then we are gonna go for step number 3 for our souffle, which is our Mandarin Cointreau sorbet. So to do so, I'm gonna place here the water, and then I have here my mix of sugar and atomized glucose powder, and also the stabilizer. I'm gonna start to pour it and bring to 85. Over here on the side, we have the mandarin juice, and then of course I will scale the Cointreau 60. And then we'll reserve this part on the side, and then the syrup will be also reserved on the other side. Then we'll chill the syrup and then combine together only at the end. And then of course spin the sorbet. Okay, so then now our syrup is at 85 degrees. I will just cool it down till 2-3 degrees, and it maturates for 4 hours before to turbinate with the juice and also the Cointreau 60. So after cooling down our syrup for the mandarin sorbet, as you can see now it's like slightly thicker. We still have to incorporate our mandarin puree and also Cointreau. So then we just pour all together, and also Manuel will pour the Cointreau 60. As we mentioned previously, it's quite important to incorporate the Cointreau when the temperature is always lower, as low as possible. So that means that if the syrup is now, let's say, at 3 degrees, which is perfect, but always under 40 degrees for most of the preparations, it's always better to keep the original flavor of Cointreau. So let's blend everything together and to make it nice and smooth. So now our sorbet is well blended together. As you can see, we have something smooth. So from that moment, we are able to turbinate our preparation. So we just turbinate and cool it down to minus 18, ready for the service. Okay, so now we are ready to start our souffle mix. I have placed my custard cream base, which is the pastry cream, and I'm gonna combine together with the orange zest or mandarin zest, up to you, the cornstarch, and then we just scale the Cointreau. So only for this recipe, we will boil once again everything together. Normally we don't used to boil the Cointreau. However, for this recipe, in order to activate correctly the cornstarch, we don't have the choice. So that means everything will be boiled correctly to get like a nice, warm and slightly thicker texture. And we'll incorporate the second part, which Manuel will present to you right now. So on the other hand, we'll prepare the meringue. So we have the base, of course, of egg whites. And then on the side, we have the mix of sugar and egg white powders. That's gonna help us to have a better texture. Okay, so then first, pastry cream, cornstarch. You can dissolve the cornstarch with the Cointreau in advance if you want. So we're gonna start to beat our egg white with the egg white powder and sugar. Okay, so now my pastry cream is nice and warm and my cornstarch is correctly activated. While we are mixing it, I need to transfer quickly my pastry cream base into a container. So a different container, and we're gonna stop right now. Perfect, so we should have a nice texture. The goal over here is to get also like a soft thick texture. So not too firm, but something very glossy and something a little bit soft. So this is the pastry cream base. It should remain warm, and I'm gonna take around one third, 1/4 of each. Let's say this one, and start to mix delicately. It is important to dissolve a little bit the pastry cream. So I will start first with the whisk, and then I'm gonna continue with the delicately, just to keep a nice volume. And then we try just to mix the minimum possible in order to keep a nice volume for the souffle. So now our souffle mix is ready. I'm gonna transfer to a piping bag, and we'll pipe in each of the molds. And see, the texture is really light, and this is what's gonna make our beautiful souffle. If the texture right now is not light, of course the souffle later on won't be light neither. So it is now time to prepare our souffle mold. I have just prepared some soft butter, and I will apply the soft butter with a brush into my souffle mold. So just like this, and I go from the bottom to the top. Just a thin and regular layers, which is important for the development of our souffle. And then after, on the side, Manuel will just apply some thin layer also of caster sugar. That will be nice and crispy on the side, and will be a good combination with the souffle, and it will also help for the development of the souffle itself. Okay, so I'm gonna apply a thin layer of sugar. The goal over here is not to apply a lot of sugar. So what you want to do is to put the sugar on the side and then kind of roll the cup to have a thin layer all over. And then you can slightly tap on it to have something nicely coated all around. If you want, you can prepare them also in advance and keep them slightly in the refrigerator. Not too long, otherwise sometimes the sugar might start to melt. So then our souffle molds are ready. We are now ready to start the final process for the souffle. So we're gonna combine previously we have done the pastry cream, and then we'll combine with the remaining ingredients to create our Cointreau souffle. Okay, so now we are ready to go. I'm gonna pipe generously until the top. Then on the side, we'll use a spatula to smooth nicely the top. And then with my finger, I will go all around to make sure that then the souffle can rise nice and straight. So we want to touch the souffle the less as possible, just enough to smooth it. And then just to finalize it and make it clean. So our soufflés are ready to go. We're gonna bake them at 180 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes. So now we're gonna cut our Mandarin Supreme. To do so, what I'm gonna do is just to cut nicely on each side the Mandarin. So all the zest was for the Mandarin coulis just before. That will be the base for our plated dessert. And then the inside will be also to put directly on the coulis. So we remove the skin. And I'm gonna cut some nice Mandarin Supreme, and Manuel will cut in two. So after we take it one by one. So in front of me, I have some paper with a shipment, and then the goal will be to slightly absorb the remaining juice from the mandarin. Like that, it's going to be clean looking on the plate. So we go very delicate. This is very fragile. So of course, for this step, it is important to do it just before the service. At least you keep it as fresh as possible, and we just put onto a clean paper just to absorb a little bit the extra juice will come out. However, we want to keep it as watery as possible. So then we just cover with a nice cling film, and it will be ready for the service. So we store just in the fridge. So now we just have put our souffle into the oven. So we have around 8 to 10 minutes to finalize our side dish. I just remind you, we have made earlier the mandarin jelly, okay? And then we have cut some nice mandarin supreme. So I'm just gonna place some over the plate, and Manuela on the side will put some candied orange. So we'll just put a few candied oranges as well on the side, and that will bring some extra flavor and also a little bit of sweetness. And just after, I'm gonna scoop our mandarin sorbet, and I just placed a little bit of crunchy feuilletine in the middle, just to maintain correctly our sorbet in the middle. Okay, so that will be ready to go. We are just now waiting for our souffle to come out of the oven, and we'll be ready to scoop the ice cream. Here we go. So now the souffle is just ready, nice and warm. So first, I'm gonna put the powdered sugar all the way on the top, and then I'm gonna place it in the center of the plate. On the side, Alexis will start to scoop the mandarin ice cream. So in very last minute, I took already the mandarin sorbet, and then scoop nicely on the side. This is our version of the Cointro orange souffle, nice and warm, and on the side you have the nice and slightly sour mandarin jelly and mandarin Cointro sorbet, and with some nice and fresh supreme. Enjoy it! Enjoy it! It is now tasting time. Yeah. So we open it delicately, and we can see the inside is slightly creamy. I really love when the souffle is like a half baked. That means the souffle in the middle is still a little bit soft. For me, it's always the best part. Yeah. Still nice and warm. Really love it. It's really light, not overly sweet, and we can feel like the freshness of the Cointro. And then on the side, yeah, if you go with everything together, the jelly, candied orange, and the sorbet. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Perfect combination, yep.